So today we're going to be checking out a fragrance from Givenchy. Unfortunately, this one is a little bit hard to get your hands on in terms of a full bottle. However, you still can get samples of this one relatively easily, so you can experience it for yourself. This one, like I said, coming from the house of Givenchy, is Givenchy Pie Neo. Don't have a bottle, unfortunately, but I do have a nice 10 ml decant. I did get this decant from DecantX. If you are wanting to grab decants of niche and designer fragrances, check out DecantX. They will be linked down below. They have this fragrance along with a multitude of other fragrances, both designer and niche. They have stuff that's in production. They have stuff that's discontinued or harder to find, kind of like this one is. They have it all. So if you've been wanting to sample something like this but don't want to spend a lot of money on a relatively small bottle size because the prices for this one, for whatever reason, are going crazy, check out DecantX down below. I will provide a link to this along to their official website. And I also want to let you know that I do have a discount code with them that is CHAOS15. That will get you 15% off your entire order site-wide. So when you go there and you see these samples at really good prices, just make sure you keep in mind that when you go to check out and you apply that discount, you're going to be saving an extra 15% off on top of those already good prices, meaning you can get some samples of designer and niche fragrances for incredible steals. DecantX has been in this game for a long time. They started out on eBay selling samples and even full bottles. They've been doing it for quite a while, and here relatively recently they started their own website to where they can really expand and continue to grow their selection and also make it easier for you guys to shop and find whatever you're looking for as well. So let's start off with how this fragrance smells. Now when you first spray it on, what you get right in the opening is a pretty simplistic and somewhat familiar citrus opening. The citruses here listed in this fragrance is orange and bergamot, and I do pick up on both of those. The orange gives a bit of a creaminess. There's the bergamot giving a little bit of a tart touch as well. There's myrtle and cedar in the mid and then patchouli in the base. So it's really a pretty simplistic note breakdown here, but the citrus comes forward straight away right up top. Along with that, the myrtle, which gives it a bit more of a powdery touch. There's a powderiness, there's a slight creaminess, and there's just kind of slight clean musky smell as well. The cedar wood is in there pretty prominent, just giving it a nice woody base. The patchouli is ever so slightly in the background, just giving it a slight green touch and just a little bit of an earthiness. I will say right off the bat, this is nothing that will completely blow you away. This is nothing that will have you speechless, and it's something that could potentially give you the feeling of something else that you've smelled before. For me, right off the bat, when I smelled it, it was reminding me of something else a little bit. That fragrance primarily being Givenchy Pie Air. So of course another Givenchy fragrance, and from their Pie line, just like this one. Pie Air is a really good one. It's got that citrus creaminess, but with a bit of a fresh ozonic type of touch. And I get somewhat of a similar comparison here with Pie Neo. Again, for me, they still do differentiate quite a bit, but if I had to kind of put my finger on one other thing that this one smelled similar to, it would be that other Givenchy. So at least it's kind of staying within the same brand. It's not like they're reaching out and cloning or trying to get close to a fragrance from another house. If anything, they're kind of drawing inspiration from one of their own fragrances. And I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. I still do think this one does have its own thing going on. But again, if you get a familiar vibe and you've smelled that other Givenchy, maybe that's what it is. Again, it's a bit creamy from the orange, a bit tart from the bergamot, the myrtle coming through, giving it kind of a warm, powdery touch, the cedar wood giving it a nice masculine, woody base, and then just a little bit of patchouli in there, just giving it that green touch, that bit of earthiness. Overall, it's a really pretty simplistic fragrance. It's one that's going to be very wearable. It's one that you can wear in spring and summertime, but I also think you can wear going into fall and into winter. It's going to be one that's a great signature scent because of that versatility. This could be something that you could pick up and just wear for any situation, any time of the year. You don't really have to put too much thought into it. It's just very wearable and it gets the job done. It smells clean, fresh, sexy, and honestly, it's hard to dislike. I mean, if you're someone who is maybe, really a fragrance snob and you just don't want to put up with anything that's clean and fresh and maybe has a bit of resemblance to something else out there or maybe a couple other things out there, then this may not excite you. But if you just like to smell good, smell clean, smell fresh, and you want something that's going to be super easy to wear, Pie Neo is going to be really good at getting the job done for you. It's hard to dislike this one. People around you are going to smell this on you and love it, and you yourself most likely we'll have to agree that it does smell clean and pleasant and refreshing. And I will be honest with you, even though it did remind me of a couple other things right off the bat, it still is a bit more of a refreshing kind of citrus summer scent. There's a lot of them out there that remind me of multiple other things and they're just straight up boring to me. However, this one does have a bit more going on than that. You know, it really does have kind of its own thing, and it's just a bit of a refreshing take on a nice summer fragrance. Performance on my skin is relatively good. Longevity, about 6 to 7 hours. So it's kind of right there in the middle or so. Really for a fresh scent, 6 to 7 hours, that's plenty good for me. Typically, a lot of times you'll see fragrances that don't even last as long as that. They'll be in the 4-hour range or so. This one really does kind of push past that and give you nice, solid longevity. Projection-wise, this one will push out. It will get you noticed. Especially right off the opening. Again, as it does start to dry down, it will get closer to the skin. So really your best bet of really getting noticed with this one is going to be within the first hour or so of application. You know, there's some fragrances out there, for example, like Chanel Allure Sport. It's kind of known as like, you know, just that compliment pulling fragrance, more so in the first hour when it's just pushing out like crazy. This one, while it doesn't quite project to that level, it's kind of a similar thing where if you spray this one on and you go out right away, you'll be pulling some compliments, but as the day goes on, it will start to wear closer to the skin, and from that point, people will have to get closer to you, get in your personal bubble to be able to pick this one up. But when they do get close to you, it is one that will almost draw them in even closer. You know, maybe they'll get kind of a whiff of it real quick and passing, and then they'll be like, ooh, what was that? And they'll come closer, they'll try to come in and get another sniff, because it is one that will kind of entice people and draw them in closer if they just get a whiff right off the bat. So it does smell nice, very pleasant, very fresh, and again, it's a people pleaser. That's what this one was mainly hyped for. Just a good compliment getter. It's so hard to dislike. It smells so nice, so pleasant, so fresh, especially for the spring and summertime. Something like this is just hard to go wrong with. I mean, you can't really dislike this, especially if you're someone who just wants to smell clean and fresh and, you know, get compliments from people around you. And another thing I do like about this one is it does have just a bit more of a upscaleness to it. Not too much, but it is one that you can wear to work. You can wear it to the office and things like that. Perhaps if you wanted to, you could wear it to a business meeting because it doesn't have a youthfulness or too much of a playfulness. You know, it does have kind of this clean, almost classy, upscale touch. And I think that's coming from the touch of powdery sweetness that this one gives off. It's not just straight up fresh, citrusy, playful, like summertime type of thing. It's got a bit more depth and dimension to it, just giving it a bit more of kind of a, you know, a mature, dressy type of smell, making it great for work and for the office. All in all, I would say if you could get your hands on a bottle of this one for cheap, and by cheap, I'm talking, you know, maybe $50, $60 or so, somewhere in that range, kind of along with the other Givenchys, then this would be a great pickup. Once you get into the $100+ range, it gets kind of hard to recommend at that point. However, you can grab a sample of this one, and just a 10 ml on its own will be able to last you quite a while. I mean, this is, depending on how much you wear it, a month's worth at the minimum. If anything, you know, you wear it every now and then, this could last you multiple months. Just a 10 ml size, and these are very reasonably priced on DecantX. Again, that link will be down below. You could get a sample of this one and wear through that sample and enjoy it without having to go spend a ton of money on a bottle. So guys, that was going to do it for me. That was my thoughts on Givenchy Pie Neo. If you've tried this one, let me know what you think down below. And remember, if you want to grab samples of any fragrance out there, design or niche, discontinued in production, you just want to try it before you buy it, make sure you check out DecantX down below. I do have a discount code for you. It is CHAOS15 to get 15% off your entire order. So when you go there and you see these samples at already really good prices, just keep in mind in the back of your head, CHAOS15 will save you 15% off that price already, meaning you can get samples at a really, really good rate. So make sure you check out DecantX. They will be linked down below. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.